Welcome to The Authority Show, where we turn insight into impact.
Today we have Tim with us, who I believe is going to bring to the table a really interesting conversation around AI and agents, because that is something that I find extremely fun to play around with. It's really going to change the world as we know it this year, 2025. And without further ado, I will let you introduce yourself, Tim.
Yeah, it's great to be your guest. Thank you for having me, Karl. I'm very, very happy to be here. My passion is all about AI and agents in use cases in the business. So I started my AI journey some 35 years ago when I was a nerdish young boy and programming my first chatbot, my very first computer. And I'm more than happy seeing the hype we see right now. And I think we can expect a lot of 25 of this year that just started. And let us discuss some topics about, of course, agents is the main topic we should focus on. And I think you all there will listen something new also about something like single-handed unicorns.
Yeah, definitely. I think that most people don't really understand the impact of AI yet. I believe that many people are a little bit afraid of it or very afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, I think that people are hesitant to make use of it because they think it's this big, scary thing. And yes, it is big. And yes, it is scary. And yes, it's capable. With the shift of actually starting to play in the space of building agents, and where these agents will actually be solving specific problems or use cases,
Yeah,
I think
we
that
now
consumers is going to really feel the impact and the value from all of this.
Yeah, and we now have two more challenges. And the first one is now the opportunities to use AI are tremendously and really open-ended, and it's hard for a business to decide with which AI use case to start and to go on and so on. And the other one is, as we saw in a recent McKinsey study, Zimmel called it the death of 1,000 pilots. And a lot of businesses are starting right now AI pilots. It is so easy to implement AI in the first business processes, and they start a lot of them and can't decide with which go on and with this to measure the success of an AI project. I think this is one of the challenges right now. And when it comes to agents, even more. There are a lot of agent platforms, and you have to decide whether to build your own agent on a platform like make.com, where you have more opportunities, or you use a platform like Relevance AI, where you're more restricted, but you have more out-of-the-box possibilities.
Yeah, and also from what I see is that many talk about agents as GPTs, like something that is pre-trained on a behavior, but it's actually not behaving as an agent fully. It's trying to help you based on a limited set of information or sort of the box to keep inside of, but it's not as efficient as an agent could be. It's not your colleague yet.
Yeah, that's it. And I think you have to focus in my company, in our research, we found out that an agent basically needs three things. The first one is access to information and to your information. It has to be trained on your specific information, on your use cases, on your client data whatsoever, to be very, very specific on your tasks. It has access to the tools you need, and you need to accomplish your tasks and your business processes. And third, and for me, one of the most important parts is it has to have memory and remember conversations it had 2 weeks ago. And we're now developing also agents that are capable of remembering tasks and to go back to tasks when they're still open 2 weeks or 4 weeks later or 1 year later.
Yeah. So basically what we're talking about now is that use all the input as training data, but not just as training data, but as memory. Because the difference between memory and training data is that you use input to understand something. But what we're not addressing is that, yes, but I also want you to remember the input, not just understand it, not just add it to your endless calculation of how things should be based on what I share with you. It's also like, yeah, I said this to you when I was in this specific country at this particular time, and they are in that time zone, and it was then in the evening, making that particular thing more relevant in that case, but not at all relevant when I'm in another country.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And Karl, what do you think? Yes, you said there is a lot of fear in humans of the application of AI and of agents in the field of work and in the field of business. What do you think should be the very first step for in business to implement AI? Where should they focus on to overcome the fear and not to let them die in the death of 1,000 pilots?
Yeah, I think this is an extremely interesting question, but let me paint the picture a little bit. During the pandemic, we saw that we had to work remotely. And with that, the middle manager lost his position in a way.
Yeah.
The middle manager was not as needed as he was when we were in the physical office. And to me, I see that many companies that are saying you need to get back to the office is because the middle manager needs to prove his value. And I'm not saying that this is for everyone everywhere, but I did see that the personal leadership of actually adding value increased a lot when people were working from all over the place. And that is something that we should have in the back of our mind, that we are more capable of doing things than what we actually see at first hand when we change the form. And the same thing is happening a little bit with the space of using AI from an upper management point of view. Like the team or the team individuals are using it. Like even in situations where they are not allowed, they can use it to some extent and add value, as long as they don't share company secrets. And the upper management are not aware of this, or they might be aware of it, but don't understand how to cope with it. The challenge here is education. And what we have seen in the big shift in AI since it became a household product is that it's learning by doing. It's not learning by going to an education. It's back to when you and I were playing with our C64s and just playing around with the early tech and not going through a manual, but basically just figuring things out. How will this fit my need? How will this fit in my reality? And maybe that appetite is not as present in the management corridors. They are instead trying to figure out how can we protect the company from the competitors that say they already have this AI capability, and we can't say that because I don't even understand AI. So I think that there is a tremendous opportunity for those type of individuals to actually see information through normal channels like this, just listening to the podcast, and then take whatever happens in their synapses, in their thoughts, in their subconscious, and play around with it. Go back to the kindergarten state and don't think that everything comes from a rule book, but rather just play around with it.
Yeah, that's a very great idea. Basically, the new opportunity for these middle managers is that they could empower their teams, their employees to use AI, but well, not to get stuck in 1,000 pilots, but to use it well in 10 pilots. And I'm deeply convinced that AI won't take a lot of jobs. Yes, some, as we've seen in other technologies, but I think smart companies won't lay off the people and exchanging them for AI and agents, but they will use agents and AI to empower their people and to thrive even more. Yes, I think the lever for each and every one of us will be much greater than before if we use it well. And I totally agree. This could be a very, very good role for the middle management to be that hub to bring into the organization the needed AI knowledge and the capabilities and everything else, and to connect it to their people, to the teams, and to lead them as good leaders should do to use it well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is a great headline, and that is to lead and guide. In this case, maybe not by example, but to listen to the people within your organization to figure out, okay, so what is it that you want to do and why? And is there any risk in this that I need to be aware of? And if that is the case, can we mitigate that risk?
Yeah, but I think they should lead also with an example. There is also evidence saying that a lot of employees use AI, but they try to hide it. They are
of course.
ashamed of it. They go to their boss and don't tell their boss that they used some kind of AI, as they feel ashamed, as like using, like cheating. They feel like cheating. And I think the role of the middle management and of the leaders in an organization should be also giving the example and using AI well and talking about it and showing the others that they used AI and how they did it and so on.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's difficult for us to say that they should, because they might not know how to lead by example. Like, first of all, they need to find that appetite and that curiosity. And maybe that is by talking to people like you and me, and we'll help them to figure that out, how to actually take them and leapfrog ahead of where they are right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So if we just play around a little bit more on that concept, I think that what we will see in this year is agents taking a place in the workforce, like not being agents, but being employees. And this is something that I have been talking a lot about already. And that is, okay, so if an individual is working with a remote team, then why should not that team be, if we say it's 5 people, then there should also be 5 agents at least that work side by side with these agents, like basically like pair programming. You have your workmate, which is an AI agent, but then also you borrow people from other teams to join in your conversations, which could be agents that are trained on the advancements from the other teams, so that your delivery is more aligned with the overall development of the company.
Yeah, that could be an idea, or even every person in the company has a digital doppelganger. So an avatar, a personal avatar, that is sometimes working as an assistant to you, and sometimes it is doing your job. For example, in sales, let's say. And I have an AI assistant, of course. It's called Rig, and Rig is handling all my incoming email, and sometimes it sends out email on my behalf and so on. And I like it a lot, and it makes me much faster. And I am feeling responsible of Rig. And I think this could be a model also for other teams, where you have, yes, as you said, you as a team have 5 team members, human team members, and 5 agents, avatars, or whatsoever on the other side, or it is your personal one.
Yeah, I actually have very limited agent behaviors implemented in my workflow that I lost control of, to be honest.
Yes, me too. Rick was going wild 2 weeks ago, and it sent out 7 answers to the same emails.
But in my case, I can't remember where I set it up. So it's working in the background and it does things for me, which I appreciate. It does good work for me, but I don't remember where it's placed, so I don't know how to stop
it. So you have to call it
it's deeply embedded in my workflow. It's
That's
super
great.
fun.
What is it doing for you?
Oh, it's taking care of some specific types of emails.
Okay. Are you doing
So
research with these kind of agents?
yeah, and it's obviously it's trained on massive amount of information that I provided about me, myself, and the way I express myself.
My agent, one of my agents, one of them is responsible for my emails and for my sales processes, and then I have another one that is producing for the last 3 years my newsletter and my content production for also for LinkedIn or on Threads or Instagram, and it's working very very well. It's I automated my research process some 3 years ago, and now I'm reading my own newsletter each Friday, and quite
Yeah,
astonishing what comes out of this source of information.
yeah, yeah. One thing that I feel is not in the hands of the consumers yet is the concept of Lego bricks in the AI space to actually be able to, in a smooth and easy way, connect different capabilities together so that you have this AI model that does this particular thing. And then if that happens, it makes this happen. Like the classical website IFTTT. I love the domain itself, but it really explains what they do. If this happens, then do that. There are tools out there or platforms out there to actually interconnect this, but it's not in the hands of consumers. It's in the hand of people like you and me right now.
Yes, also it's really, really easy. And yes, you're totally right. It could be in hands of consumers, but but all of us are drowned by an information flood, and you have to be interested. And it's getting easier and easier, and there will be AIs and agents doing this for you. I
Yeah,
suppose, no, meta agents that let you operate and develop new agents like using Alexa or Siri. So you
yeah,
just tell Siri, okay, please, I need an agent to do this.
yeah, yeah, definitely. The challenge here is just as you say, there's so much going on at the same time in this particular space. It's not just it's so much happening in the world. It's so much happening in the AI space that
Yeah.
you can't really keep up with it. That's the reality right now. There's so many interesting things happening on a daily basis. And when I say interesting thing, it's like life-changing moments on a daily basis.
Totally, yes. You can open your feed on whatever device, and you get every hour new ideas, and there are tons of videos on YouTube or blog posts and so on. Even if your day had 50 hours, you couldn't keep up with all the new information happening in just one day. But we're living in the exponential age, and this is getting faster every day still. And next year it will be better or worse,
Yeah,
depending on you see it. Yes, I think better. And so we're living in the overflow age of possibilities.
yeah, yeah. One challenge that we definitely will start to see all over the place, I think, before we manage to tackle this is the implication of AI produced content, which might not always be accurate.
Yeah, which might not be accurate and which sometimes is not that high standard or quality, not only in terms of accuracy, but also in terms of language and style. And
Yeah,
I like to spend my time reading or listening or watching a video, consuming something really good. Limited is really limited my time, and I like to read a good article or watch a
yeah,
good video. And I think with AI content, this is getting more difficult to pick
yeah,
out the pearls in this clutter. And the relevancy of maybe this will lead also to if everything is clutter and there's only some limited pearls in it, nobody will see the pearls anymore, and it will be
yeah,
getting more and more difficult for the producers of the pearls to get visibility.
yeah, definitely. Like one example, yesterday I created another GPT for me, and this specific GPT has the instructions to answer yes or no.
Mhm.
That's it. meaning that the GPT is instructed not to give a lengthy answer, because whenever you use one of these LLMs, you get this massive amount of information. And for quite many questions, I don't care about that. I just want a positive, negative response. Like,
Yeah.
for many, but not all of the things that I'm doing, I actually just want a yes or no.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to know if the language model does not have an answer. So
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Claude and so ever are all prompted to give an answer no matter what.
Yep.
They have
Yes.
no clue. They have to give an answer. So
Yep.
hallucination is a problem, of course. And yeah, I think that's a good idea to tell the model just to give a short answer.
Yeah. So I played around with it a little bit yesterday, and I did ask some questions that it could not answer yes or no. And then it said, I can't answer on that. So it's actually handling the idea of lying or hallucinating very well in this case.
What do you think of this? I think last Friday, Sam Altman posted on X that cryptic phrase about being near the singularity of AGI, but I don't know from which side. What do you think of this quote?
Yeah, I think he wrote a little bit more lengthy about it in his latest blog post that was released yesterday, I think. In essence, what he's poking at or teasing us with is that from an OpenAI point of view, they think they now have figured out how to solve it, but they have not solved it.
Okay.
But
They have
also
a path and they haven't gone it.
Yeah. In a way, they have a philosophic idea about how to do it. They have an architect on how to build it, but then they also need to actually do it. But then also what we could see just before Christmas or during Christmas, they publicly showed off the capabilities of the O3 model, which proves to be incredibly good. Like, far beyond what I expected at this time already. They did not launch the O3 model, just to be clear on that, but the O3 model is available for security researchers to access.
Yes, I've heard that O3 passed an AGI test where humans tend to have about 87% and O3 passed it with 88% or 89%.
Yeah. And to keep in mind, this is all statistics, but it's statistics that is built to prove a fact, to validate how well something is progressing. But in theory, whenever there is a format, a formula to measure something, you can also build a model around that formula.
Yeah, of course. And to build it for the exact purpose.
Yeah. To make sure that it pleases the model or the formula. But I think that in this case, obviously they have been looking at how this is going to be measured, like how its capabilities, how its reasoning capabilities is going to be measured.
Yeah.
But in a way, that is also how we humans look at it. Is this a good response, yes or no? And then we use our own idea of designing a scoring framework on the fly. Like, yeah, it's good because it's the same type of response that I would give, or it's a response that is similar to what my professor would give me, or whatever. Like, we ourselves create our own scoring model all the time.
Yeah, but it will make agents even better. And I think one of the bases of agents is to have an idea what is your next step to act. And if you have a task at hand, you have to tear it down into different subtasks. And I think O3 will be much better in predicting what is the next best task. I'm writing right now my newest book, and it will be called Single-Handed Unicorn, based on that idea also from Sam Altman, that we will see unicorns driven by single entrepreneurs. And I'm really curious, and therefore I'm writing the book to answer the question, what is necessary to build an enterprise with one person and one AI, and what are, even without that person, maybe just a unicorn and only an agent doing the job. At the very moment, I have no clue what is really necessary. And if there is the technology right now to accomplish this task. And it's a very exciting journey.
Definitely. And from my point of view, a unicorn is a company that have a value of more than $1 billion US. But the potential here is also another angle, and that is that an agent creates a value of more than $1 billion US, meaning creates something that has some sort of value that then either is actual money or is something that can be sold for this value. And that is not the same as a unicorn company, which have a product or something to offer.
I totally agree. And this is for me the main question here. If we have an agent capable of producing a value of $1 billion or the equivalent to this, we would have billions of agents capable of doing so.
Yeah, and this leads us into a dystopical angle in a way. But if one agent managed to do this, then potentially that data set can create a million agents that does it over and over again. But the time has changed from that millisecond when it was done, so it will not be able to do it the same way. But
that's it. Yeah,
the impact for the global economy is going to be tremendous. Like, this has been achieved by something, and it's not in relation to a product, a company, an education, an individual. It's something totally new. And this is a topic for an entire podcast, I think, but this is in a way already being done by meme coins and a model that's been trained on memes.
Yes, I agree.
It's not real value, but there is a value because people are trading it.
Yeah. Okay. So you have examples of AIs trade meme coins or publish meme coins to get a value of more than $1 billion?
In this case, it's an AI model that have been basically playing around with the concept of a meme coin. And then someone created this meme coin and the AI picked it up and started to boost it in whatever way it could so that other people started to trade it. And so the value went up and it keeps on going up extremely fast. The value, when I looked at it the last time, was $700 million US.
Okay, so but this is one case, as you said before, you can't copy this method. Nothing. It's like in growth hacking or in any other volatile area. So, but then the challenge for this particular agent would be to create something similar as the one that created the meme coin.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting time right now. The concept of money value, the concept of time it takes to build something of value is going to change dramatically. And as you said, like Sam Altman and a select few in this private chat group are bidding on when the first $1 billion US company is going to be launched by a single-handed individual, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. And also the question, what will happen? At the beginning of our talk, we discussed that individuals are empowered by AI and by agents. So the question here is, of course, if this will change if we develop more and more companies driven only by single-handed individuals or agents. And I don't think so. I think we will still have an economy with individuals thriving using AI. And maybe everything is going up and we will see growth in the economies. I don't think endless growth, but more growth than we see today.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how the society twists and turns around this, as we're going to have workforces where half of the workforce is going to be AI agents in one way or another, or robotics in one way or another, and how that changes our society.
Yes, and we will see, or we are just right now seeing the first agents being leaders in companies, and the middle management is AI itself. And what will happen to people led by an AI? You may know that in the board of Salesforce, they have an AI for the last 7 years, and it has no vote in the board, but they're always consulting that AI in any decision the board takes. And so they have an external perspective. And in a lot of cases, we see AI much more neutral and, yes, an external perspective. And I think if we as humans are able to accept this, it's basically, it's like me many years ago when I first started using Google Maps instead of trusting my gut to find the next letterbox. And now if I drive by car to the next letterbox, if I do so, I use Google Maps, as it is always faster and better than me finding the right way through the dense city traffic. And if we start trusting the AI, the AI needs to be built trustworthy, of course. But if we start to trust it, and the question is here, as you said, if we are, as a society, are able to trust it and to rely heavily on it. But it's a little bit like we are not really confused, but we are relying on technology for the last 30 years. And our daily life is heavily reliant and dependent on technology. And so it is just another step, I think. And now we are conscious of this step, and we decide consciously if we would like to trust the next technology or not. And yes, of course, we see, I'm living in the center of Europe, and we see here a lot of digital divide. And right now I see this division increasing a lot. And there are a lot of individuals and organizations, businesses, and so on, not trusting the AI and not deciding to go this next step.
Yeah. And that is going to be an extremely interesting challenge for the society. Like, if you live in a society that ban AI, like what we could see in Italy in the beginning when OpenAI released ChatGPT, Italy blocked OpenAI's products on a country-wide level. Obviously, that has been solved now, but that was the case. And I think that we're going to see more of that as we progress, especially when GDPR is not honored and other issues are identified with these models. Like, you are blocking some capabilities from AI solutions, still from OpenAI and from Meta and so on. There's a long list of capabilities that you in Europe are not allowed to use because of how it's using training data and how it's not honoring everything that should be honored from the AI Act and so on.
Yeah, and the question here is if this will increase even more in the future, or if it will decrease as, people trust more the AI.
I believe that the big question is going to be when we see that the AI have a big negative impact. We have not seen that yet. We haven't seen big security breaches because of AI models or agents hacking themselves into systems. We haven't seen banks being controlled by AI models and teams that are using AI capabilities to gain access to things that they should not have access to. There have been some situations. There have been some really big scam stories that have an interesting background where they've been using deep fake video meetings and so on. But in one way or another, these stories have not been as newsworthy, and you have to dig a little bit to find them. But at one point, we'll see that there's something that's going to change, something that is going to make the general public more aware of the negative side as well. Because definitely there are a negative side, especially when we look at armed forces and the development within that space. I think that whenever there's something that happens that is outside of what we can control, that cause a life to be taken, then it's going to be both very much hushed down at the same time as the general public is going to say, okay, we can't let this happen.
Yeah, but I fear that on the other hand, the positive effect also is not seen by the public. Yes, there are some experts like us seeing all the me and my peers are saying right now we won't go to a doctor that doesn't use AI in their decision. I think this is crucial there, but I think the majority of the public will say no. Doctors shouldn't use AI as this is technology, and the human is more trustworthy than the AI in detecting diseases. So we need more way to go to have the public recognized all the positive impacts and effects of AI. I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's also why we don't see that much of the positive impact, because there are people that don't want to lose their jobs because they directly go in that angle. Like, okay, so in what way is this bad for me? Like if we take the example that you just took up, doctors, we now know that going through X-ray plates, the AI models are far more capable than the human eye at detecting certain anomalies. In that case, then why would I not always want to use an AI model to actually go through my X-rays? Does that mean that the guy that is normally going through the X-rays is going to lose his job? I don't think so. I think he's going to get an even more advanced job because he got a human eye. And that is a different set of capabilities. The AI is using his training data. The human is using his intuition in this case to figure out things that have not been seen before.
Yes, and also we lack a lot of people communicating to the patients. So right now you have a doctor with very few time and they have to do both jobs, analyzing your X-ray images and communicating to you as the patient. So why not split the job and let the machine do what it can do better and the human do what the human can do better, communicate to you, so the patient.
Yeah. And then if we look at the waiting time in certain countries and cities for getting a response on your actual X-ray, like if there's a problem, the sooner you fix that problem, the smaller the problem is going to be. The longer you wait, the bigger the problem is going to be.
Yeah, that's it. Or take China, for instance. They're such a huge country, and they're implementing right now AI doctors in the rural areas. Or India, for instance, like Chinchpada Hospital. New York Times had an article about this some time ago. Chinchpada, and it's rural India, and they don't have doctors there, as trained doctors won't go to that region. It's so unattractive for them, and so they're very, very happy to have an AI making the analyzing the patient data for them. And yes, I think there are a lot of use cases where AI can really help and change it for the better.
Yeah,
but we have to talk about it and we have to publish it. And so I think in the public opinion, a lot of fake news or colored images on Instagram are on the forefront. On all the advantages and all the progress we have done by now, is not in that sense in the focus of the public opinion.
No, there's going to be a challenge where we are being protected by media in a way. Like, we should not say this because it's going to scare the masses. And in the same way, there will be people that trying to protect themselves. I should not say this because then I might lose my job.
Yeah, and the strangest thing here is a lot of people are frightened of losing their jobs. But if you ask them, some 100 years ago in 1925, if you would like to a phone call from New York to Boston, you had to call the operator and wait for a half an hour for your phone to be put through. And right now, as I said, you can do a video call, Zoom call to Singapore in an instant.
Yep.
And if you ask the people, do you want this time back? And imagine there are thousands of operators, of human operators losing their jobs. If you said, no, I don't want it back, I think any everybody will agree we won't have back those time with thousands of operators, but waiting for the call half an hour to be put through. And this is the progress. So we have to think about how to manage it. But I think all of us agree that we want progress and that we won't stop here where we are and go on and stay in that times as operators.
Yeah, and that's the challenge with progress, that it does challenge us in one way or another, make things more efficient and potentially change a current situation. And change is scary. Change equals risk in one way or another, because we need to understand and learn new things. That equals risk. But to me, life is all about taking calculated risks. And the more informed you are, the less impact that potential risk has on you. So if we just talk to the audience here or the listeners, I would say, if you feel like this is something that scares you, like if you feel concerned or worried about the impact of artificial intelligence, then from your point of view, treat it in the way as you might with keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah, of course. And normally we are more frightened from the things we don't know than those we know. And we know the risks, or yes, we can take calculated risks. That's totally true.
Yeah. So the space of AI is unknown. We know that things are happening. We don't know exactly how things are happening, but they are. And that is a big concern as well, because we don't actually understand all the capabilities of this technology. We have tried to put up some boundaries, some limitations, but in reality, if we remove those boundaries, it could be let loose to do whatever it wants. And then you and I as humans, we are in a way configured to be taking care of ourselves. And to some extent, that means being selfish or self-protective. But the AI is not. The AI have never been taught to protect itself, be selfish. It's been taught to give a positive response to whatever question is being asked. And that's why it's lying or hallucinating to us. It's because we have instructed it to always give a positive response.
Yeah, this, and I think the lack of, but it's intermingled with your idea, I think the lack of impetus of this idea of moving something forward. We as humans are driven by the will to form things and to form the world, to be selfish for us or to be better for us as humans. But I think the AI still lacks this idea and this will to form something. And this is an idea that gives me hope. And so I think if I hear these Terminator ideas and fantasies of AI wanting to rule the world, I think this is bullshit, to be openly, because the AI has no will in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should be afraid of human people using AI for malicious ideas, but not from the AI itself.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. And maybe that's a beautiful closing note. We should be more afraid of the humans that are using the AI than the actual AI. We are, and we have always been, the most difficult living thing on this planet that is always trying to take an advantage for ourselves.
Yeah. Totally true. Yeah. And so we don't have to be afraid of the AI, but we have to publish more about good progress in that area, and more knowledge about this in each and every area of our society. We have to talk more about it. And so I'm more than happy that there are podcasts like you and the Authority Show publishing ideas and knowledge, enlightenment, let us say, around AI and agentic AI.
Amazing. Love that as a closing note. Thank you so much for joining us, Tim. And I really enjoyed this conversation with you. It's been so interesting discussing all these ups and downs, the dystopia, but also all the positive things that's happening in this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. It was an amazing conversation, and I'm looking forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of The Authority Show. Don't let the inspiration and ideas stop here, but join our community and continue the conversation. Learn more at karlillrud.com. That's KarLillrud.com. Be sure to subscribe to catch our next episodes. Until next time, stay curious.